Good morning, this is my job for today. I'm here to weed. There's a few weeds here. Anyway, it's a beautiful day. It's a little chilly in the morning, but it should warm up later today. So I got some of this to do. That needs to come out. Ooh, those are pretty. And a big bush died over the winter. Little pond in there. I cleaned this garden out last year. It had been a little overgrown, but so I'm gonna start on the other side. So this is where I'm gonna start. It looks like one of the weediest areas. So start with the hardest job and work our way around to the easier ones. I don't know if you can see this, but this is a little white grub. In French, they're called les vers blancs. These guys usually grow to be the Japanese beetles that eat everything. So it's because of these little guys that you've got patches in your lawn like this. They eat the roots and kill your grass. So anyway, usually I try to pick those out. There's a lot. I'll pick them out like this and I'll throw them on a pathway and let the birds come find them. So the birds like me and get rid of some grubs that way. So this plant here is milkweed. Some people view it as a weed, but it's a really important native plant that monarch butterflies rely on. If it was in somebody else's garden, I might need to take it out, but since there's nothing in this garden, I'm gonna leave it because I think it's really important to leave beneficial plants. However, I understand that native plants like this can be seen as invasive because they'll pop up where they're not planted, and they tend to do pretty well, so will grow in a lot of different places that maybe some people don't want them growing. But a nice little bunch like this is beautiful, and I think I'm gonna have better luck getting people to accept a native plant such as this instead of something maybe like this, which is a thistle and very picky. It gets a beautiful purple flower, which is also really beneficial to our pollinators, but they grow even more sporadically. There's a whole bunch of them, so I think more native plants need to be in gardens, but I think getting people that maybe don't understand the importance until there's a lot more information and people are way more on board. I think that if I can get people to keep 1 or 2 native plants in their gardens instead of digging them out and seeing them as weeds, if we can try to make goldenrod seem beautiful somewhere. I mean, we have some here, but this is going to be too much for... It covers the ornamental plants that are still good for pollinators, but not maybe as beneficial as other plants. So maybe I can do one thing at a time, and we'll start with the milkweed. I'll see if it gets pulled out, but I don't think it will. I think it looks very pretty. So that's it. The best way to grab these plants to put them in the garbage without getting a handful of prickles is to grab the roots. This works for a whole bunch of plants, including stinging nettle. So if you need to grab a prickly plant, suggest trying to dig it up and grabbing the roots. So this plant here is garlic mustard, and it is a very invasive weed. All these will spring open and seeds will just go pew. So the best bet is to get them before now, but at least we're getting them while they've got the seeds in the pods and they haven't shot the seeds yet. So I'll get those out. If I could find a little baby one. There's not any babies, but anyway, these get a small white flower similar to these, but a lot smaller, and there will be many. So it's not just sort of one flower, it's each of these would have been a flower, each of the seeds, so there's quite a few. Anyway, it's a good thing to haul out of your garden. This is, as far as weeds go, this is worse than dandelions. I'd rather have dandelions growing than garlic mustard, so. So most of this is coltsfoot. I did do a different video and it was all about coltsfoot. Like I said, the best way to do this is just to pull it, not dig it, because the roots of this will sprout new plants wherever you've cut the root system. So again, the best thing to do is sort of break it off right at the soil and deplete the roots of nutrients and whatever else they need to thrive. So slowly it'll go down. It looks like a lot, but it'll go very quickly. So my other camera ran out of batteries and I can't find a place to charge batteries on site, so I'm on my phone, but I don't want to use it too much because if I don't want to run out of battery and get locked out of my car. And anyway, so emergencies come over recording gardening, so I'm just doing this so you can see where I'm at, and I will come back when I'm finished this part and show you the update. So I have this finished now. It didn't take very long. Looks a little better. I remember now there was a big bush right there. I think it was a juniper, because I remember I couldn't reach under it last year to weed. So I guess somebody decided to chop it. Anyway, so that's good. There are still a few little green bits in here, but they're tiny, tiny weeds, and I flipped them so the roots will get air and the plant won't survive. So that's that garden done. And since it's getting pretty warm, I'm gonna weed along here in the rocks. Gotta go through all this. There's a little strip of grass that's dying from all the pine needles. Too much acidity, I think, in the ground. So yeah, this isn't bad. There are a few little trees that pop up in here, but since I have my clippers today, I can just clip those back. So, yeah, I'm gonna do this part. Like I mentioned, it's in the shade, and it's getting pretty warm today. Especially after all the cold weather we've been having, it's not really used to the heat. So, I think this part will be the last part for today, and I'll have to come back on another day to finish up sort of behind over there. So I will record a little bit more when I'm finished. So I just finished putting an edge on this garden and getting the weeds out from around the rocks. I don't know if he's going to want to remove this one branch. The juniper is quite large, so I don't think one little branch is going to affect the bush too much. So I might, so that it gives room for the hostas to grow. Nice to have a little variety, as much as I love my trees and things. So and the other side looks good, so I think I'm gonna call that a day. So this is the completed job in the front, or whatever I managed to get done today. The biggest pain in the butt are these sprinklers that are randomly placed throughout the garden, and they're not sort of in a line. But anyway, it all looks cleaner and nicer and tidier. Looks like it's ready to be planted a little bit, so.